Hello, Michael here. Looking today at Psalm 74 for our devotion, a psalm which may be subtitled, Arise, O God, defend your cause. And we're focusing on verse 10 to 12 for the exposition, but we'll be reading from verse 10 down to 20 because Spurgeon surmises some of these verses in his exposition. Let's go ahead and read then. Verse 10. O God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Verse 11. Why withdrawest thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. And verse 12. For God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. And then verse 13 down to 20. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the water. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and the flood. Thou driedst up mighty rivers. The day is thine, the night also is thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy hath reproached, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove unto the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. And verse 20. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. And so as we get to our exposition in verse 10, let's just go ahead and read that one again. O God, how long shall the adversary approach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Spurgeon pens. O God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Though we know not how long, yet thou dost. The times and the seasons are with thee. When God is reproached, there is hope for us, for it may be he will hearken and avenge his dishonored name. Wickedness has great license allowed it, and justice lingers on the road. God has his reasons for delay, and his seasons for action, and in the end it shall be seen that he is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? He will do so forever, unless thou doest give him his quietus. Wilt thou never defend thyself, and stop slanderous tongues? Wilt thou always endure the jeers of the profane? Is there to be no end of all this sacrilege and cursing? Yes, it shall be ended, but not by and by. There is a time for the sinner to rage, and a time in which patience bears with him. Yet it is but a time, and then, then. And verse 11. Why withdrawest thou hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out from thy bosom. Why withdrawest thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Wherefore this inaction, this indifference for thine own honor and thy people's safety? How bold is the suppliant! Does he err? Nay, verily, he who are so chill and distant and listless in prayer are the erring ones. The kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and he who learns the art shall surely prevail with God by its means. It is fit that we should inquire why the work of grace goes on so slowly, and the enemy has so much power over men. The inquiry may suggest a practical reflection of unbounded value. Why dost thou from the conflict stay? Why do thy chariot wheels delay? Lift up thyself, else kingdom shake. Arm of the Lord, awake, awake. Pluck it out of thy bosom. A bold simile. but dying men must venture for their lives. When God seems to fold his arms, we must not fold ours, but rather renew our entreaties that he would again put his hand to the work. Oh, for more agony in prayer among professing Christians. Then should we see miracles of grace. We have here before as a model of pleading, a very rapture of prayer. It is humble, but very bold, eager, fervent, and effectual. The heart of God is always moved by such entreaties. When we bring forth our strong reasons, then will he bring forth his choice mercies. And then he synopses verse 12 to 23 and writes, having spread the sad case before the Lord, the pleader now urges another series of arguments for divine help. He reasons from the Lord's former wonders of grace and his deeds of power, imploring a repetition of the same divine works. And focusing then on verse 12, which reads, for God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. For God is my King of old. How consoling is this avowal! Israel in holy loyalty acknowledges her King, and claims to have been his possession from of old, and thence she derives a plea for defense and deliverance. If the Lord be indeed the sole monarch of our bosoms, he will in his love put forth his strength on our behalf. If from eternity he has claimed us as his own, he will preserve us from the insulting foe, working salvation in the midst of the earth. From the most remote period of Israel's history, the Lord had worked out for her many salvations, especially at the Red Sea. The very heart of the world was astonished by his wonders of deliverance. Now every believer may plead at this day the ancient deeds of the Lord, the work of Calvary, the overthrow of sin, death, and hell. He who wrought out our salvation of old will not, cannot desert us now. Each past miracle of grace assures us that he who has begun to deliver will continue to redeem us from all evil. His deeds of old were public and wrought in the teeth of his foes. There were no delusions or make-believes, and therefore, in all our perils, we look for true and manifest assistance, and we shall surely receive it. Yeah, sometimes God is really like, God, you there? God, don't you see what's happening here? Lord, mercy. And it still seems quiet out there. I remember not too long back, there was really a treacherous and evil regime operating in the land, and all kind of atrocities were being ratified and legalized. And God was like really quiet. But now I see that, just as history shows, he's never late. He's always on time. And he has his reasons way beyond our minds. Well, trust you enjoyed the meditation. Michael here declaring yet again, Jesus is Lord. Until next time, be blessed.